So do you remember the 1998 NBA playoffs? Let me think. I graduated high school in 1995, so I'm 3 years removed from high school. I'm playing basketball in college, still watching a lot of basketball. I actually don't watch a lot of NBA basketball now, but in 1998, the Bulls were still on their winning streak here. And in 1998, there's this scene, and I bet you remember it if you're a sports fan at all. Even if you're not, you probably have seen this iconic shot. Jordan comes down. They're on the road. They're playing Salt Lake City, NBA Finals, Game 6. He pushes off, what was his name? Byron something. Anyways, he pushes off the guy, the defender, circles back, free throw line, scores, nothing but net. Bulls win, go on to win their sixth championship in 8 years. Now, I'm a Detroit guy, I'm a Michigan guy, so I mean, I'm bad boys for life, Dumars and Rodman when he was still a man and not so crazy. The early years Rodman and Bill Laimbeer and Isaiah and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the era that I grew up in. And the Bulls had to get past the Pistons. They were like, the bad boys era, back to back titles. Jordan was, on the up, but he had to get past my bad boys. And so anyways, it wasn't like I was a Jordan fanatic, but you had to love watching Jordan. And of course, I guess some of my friends might argue that, right? But Jordan was must see TV. And to this day, the arguments about whether he's the GOAT or not to me are stupid. He's clearly the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. Now, when you watch his, I think it's 30 for 30 with Jordan, it's actually kind of sad. He lives, I don't know, that's a different point. It's kind of sad to see how driven men like that are so driven that it kind of destroys maybe parts of their life. But anyways, 1998, let's go back to that. Jordan wins the game with this shot. It's epic. Jordan, sixth title in 8 years, just an incredible run. And at the end of that game, Jordan says, I never doubted the whole game. In fact, he tells the story where he steals the ball. If you remember this, like the shot that people remember is that push off. Some people call it a push off or whatever, but he does this move at the free throw line, gets the open shot, holds the shot at the end, nothing but net. They win the game. On the road, Karl Malone, Stockton, they just can't get past Jordan. Well, again, Jordan says, I never doubted the whole game. And in fact, he says that I saw everything with clarity and I knew exactly what I was going to do. And this is the thing that I want to focus on in this conversation with us today. He says that he knew and he saw clearly and he knew exactly what he was going to do in this moment, which is interesting. So this play obviously hadn't happened, but what Jordan says is that he, in studying his enemy, maybe enemy is the wrong word here, but his opponent, Jordan, in studying, what the Jazz would do, said that he knew how the pass would come into Malone. And if you go back and watch it, you'll see exactly, Jordan kind of plays off of him. He's not the one that's defending him. He's defending somebody else, but he's setting himself up and he perfectly comes through. He comes behind Malone, swipes the ball, steals it. They get the ball back, and then he goes down, and eventually they hit this last shot, and he becomes, again, just cements his GOAT status at that point. But what's interesting is that he said, I saw it all before it happened. And what he would say is like he would go before the game, and he would visualize things that would happen. Not just that play, but he certainly said that he visualized that play in particular. He knew what they would do. He knew that if they did it, his response would be specific and he would then try to execute it. But he played it all out in his mind before it ever happened. And I think that is fascinating. He saw what was coming in his mind. He visualized what would happen. He rehearsed it in his mind. So he's playing it over and over. And then when the play actually happens, it's almost like he saw it before it got there. And he was able to execute precisely what he wanted to do when the time came. Now, transition that idea into what we're talking about here today for Christian men. What does this have to do with you and I? We all have an opponent that we are up against called temptation, let's just say. And it might be a temptation for different things. A lot of times when you say temptation to a guy, you think about lust for women in particular. But this temptation could be anything. There are certain things probably in your life that tempt you to compromise, tempt you to cheat in some way, tempt you to not live up to your standards in some kind of way. And most likely, it's an opponent that you've seen many times. It's a struggle that you've been through time and time again. It's that thing where you're like, dang, I can't believe I'm still dealing with this. And so, what I want you to think about today is what if, just like with Jordan, what if there was a way that you could see exactly how that play is going to line up before it ever happens the next time? What if you could see your temptations and your struggles before they showed up and you knew exactly what you were going to do? This is what we're talking about today. Just like Jordan, studying his opponent and then anticipating the play before it ever shows up, he learned how to execute better and becomes the greatest of all time because of this mental exercise that he did before the games were even played. Like, again, he would study defenders, people that are going to defend him. Like, where were they weak? What could he do? If they did this move, he would do that, right? He was the all-time competitor. He studied hard and he knew what to do so that when it happened, in his mind, he would say he felt like he's already done that before. And he didn't have to think very hard about it. He knew exactly where to go with the ball, exactly what to do. Well, in my mind, when I think of that story, I think this. The reason so many times that me and you maybe, the reason that we as Christian men fall time and time again to the same opponents, these same temptations, these same struggles, isn't just that we're weak. I think it's more than that. I think it's likely that we're not prepared. We're not learning how to visualize the temptation. We don't give it any thought. We don't rehearse in our mind any kind of idea. We just act like, I can't believe this happened again. And we have no anticipation for it coming. We have no idea how to plan our way out of it before it gets there. And we succumb to it. When temptation hits us and we're not ready, we are really kind of saying, man, I hope that willpower can get me through this. And let me just ask the obvious, right? How many times have you got there and willpower wasn't enough? I mean, like, I could raise my hand and say probably every time. We think that willpower will be enough and it never is. Clarity of the opponent, clarity of the moves that are coming against you, clarity of the temptation before it hits, and having a plan can change your life. And that's really what I've titled this podcast idea, this simple conversation with you today, that a plan of action can change your life. Clearly seeing the temptation before it shows up. And again, it's not like it's the new temptation that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one in your life where you just think, man, I've seen this play before and it gets me time and time again. It gets me time and time again. Here's what 1 Peter 5:8 says, and I think this is like this common mantra that I want you to listen to closely. 1 Peter 5:8, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. The first thing in there that I see is this: be alert. This is preparation language. This is a guy that says, I'm rehearsing in my mind what the enemy is going to do. I know, for example, like if I'm walking through the bush, right? I'm in Africa and I'm walking through the bush. Tell me you're not going to be on alert. Tell me you're not going to be looking at every bush for that danger to come out and give you problems, right? You're going to be on high alert, in fact. And this is the language of 1 Peter 5. Be on alert. Watch out. Be prepared. Be ready. Always be looking. And then he says, be of sober mind. Well, what's the opposite of a sober mind? It's a mind that's intoxicated. And when you're intoxicated, you can't think clearly. You're not thinking ahead. You're really, everything's kind of foggy, right? If you've ever been in that state of mind, you know that I'm not in full control. Everything is kind of foggy and it's unclear. And the way that Jordan said that he won is when he could see, because he was alert, he was prepared, and he was sober-minded. And so when the enemy moved, he had an idea, he had a plan for what he was going to do, right? I think for many of us, just speaking super casually here, I think for many of us, myself first in line, The reason we fall to temptation, the reason that we fall to the same old struggle time and time again, is because we are fighting blindly. We are unaware. We are not alert. We are not prepared. And I genuinely think that if we came into these temptations with just a little bit of loving the Lord with all of our mind, like he tells us to do as the greatest commandment, if we used our mind in the way that an athlete like Jordan would do before a game, we may win more of our battles. We may be more of the husband and father and follower of Christ that we are trying to be. We simply show up to the day unalert, unprepared, and without a plan. So this simple tool, this simple conversation for you today is to just get you to think and say, is this temptation, is this thing that trips you up something that you've never thought of before, never seen before? Is it this like brand new idea? Or is it this thing that you probably should expect to come time and time again? It's been this thing that's tripped you up before. It'll probably try to trip you up again. What are you going to do about it? You can either hope that willpower gets you through, or you can have a plan. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick break from the show to share with you 3 things that I think could help you to become more of the man that God meant for you to be: a better husband, a better father, and a better follower of Jesus Christ. 3 things, totally free, that I think can help you. Number 1 is our podcast. Hit the subscribe button, share them with a friend. That makes a big difference, not only in your life, but in somebody else that you care about as well. And it helps us to reach more men. Number 2, we do a free weekly newsletter that is short, it's concise, it deals with just one key question and then 3 simple action items each week that will help you to get in the fight in a really practical way. You can find that at getinthefight.club/newsletter. And then lastly, you can join our Fight Club community. This is a free private app for Christian men only, where you can talk to guys and get involved with guys' lives from all around the world who are just like you, trying to get in the fight to be better men for Christ. You get things like daily devos, weekly challenges, monthly gatherings, small groups, so much more. It's kind of like a Facebook group, but exclusively for Christian men, and it's totally awesome, and it's totally free. getinthefight.club/join and check it out. Get more today. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, get our newsletter, get involved in our Fight Club. Totally free things to help you to get in the fight and win today. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Back to the show. The plan that I use and the plan that I talk about in my Start Super Small system is called the if-then pause plan. What I want you to be able to do is, when the temptation or the struggle, the common thing that gets in the way, the heavy weight that carries you away from your destiny as a godly man, whatever that thing is for you, I want us to be able to get in front of that thing before it hits you again, and I want you to see the play before it happens. Just like with Jordan in 1998. I want you to go, you know what, that temptation's probably going to show up again, but I'm prepared this time. I'm alert to it. And when it happens, I know exactly how to execute the plan that I have in mind. The if-then pause plan is not complex at all. It just simply is this: if and when the temptation shows up again, then I will do this. Very basic, right? This is not complex, but it's thoughtful. It's preparedness. It's having a plan. And this is the theme. If you have a plan, it just might change your life. Because how do you feel, guy? Like, let's just say this. How do you feel when you're going, man, I can't believe I succumbed to that again. I can't believe I fell for that again. I can't believe that I'm sitting here again, having to confess, having to feel this remorse, having to feel the weight of shame. I can't believe I'm here again with this same stupid sin that keeps tripping me up. How does that feel? It feels terrible. So let's pause before the game. Let's think about it right now. Give this some serious thought. And again, if you will take this conversation and put it into practice, I think it can change your life. Here's some practical thoughts. If I feel tempted to look at something that I know I shouldn't, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know about you, but like, there's just certain apps that they're just trouble, right? You got slutty girls on there that are just showing themselves. They talk like they are, they're prostituting basically online, right? That's tricky for us. What are you going to do when that shows up if that's a temptation for you? Do you have a plan for that? Well, here's a if-then pause plan idea. You might just say, if that video shows up and I feel tempted to keep going even further into that thing, that I know I shouldn't, then I'm going to pray Psalm 23 and just say, the Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need. And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a walk for 1 minute. I have a plan. Now, again, this is just an idea, right? You'd be like, well, that's a stupid plan. Cool. Fill it in yourself. I don't care, right? The idea is that this temptation is going to come. If you're going to have social media, then you're going to run into things that you know you shouldn't see. And there are things that can derail your faith. There are things that can lead you astray. There are things that are going to open the door to the next level, right? And so what are you going to do when it shows up? The if then pause plan is simply you thinking through the game before it comes. Visualize it. Okay, if I'm scrolling and I come across this, what am I going to do? What are you going to do? The if then pause plan says if I run across this video and it starts stirring up my heart and my emotions and I know it's leading me away, I have a plan. If that happens, then I'm going to do this. I'm going to rehearse this prayer. I'm going to get up and I'm going to put the phone down or the computer down. I'm going to walk around the building. I'm going to walk through my house, whatever it is, right? Say a prayer, take a walk. How about this? Like if your kids or maybe it's your wife is just, you've had a rough day, they're getting under your skin. What are you going to do? If this is the thing that trips you up, what are you going to do? Well, if I feel irritated, then I'm going to take 3 slow breaths. I'm going to say a prayer of blessing over that person, my wife, my kid, my coworker, whatever it is. And then I'm going to say something kind to them on purpose instead of something sarcastic. By the way, these are probably all for me. These are all like my plans, right? But if you get irritated, what are you going to do if that's your thing? If you're driving down the road and you are quick to get angry at the terrible drivers around you, what are you going to do? Well, the tendency for a lot of us is like we curse and yell and scream and act just like they do. And we're like, what's wrong with these people? These freaking idiots or whatever your thing is, right? If that's the temptation for you that just derails your day, what are you going to do the next time it shows up? If this happens, then I'm going to do this. That's all this is about, right? This isn't crazy thinking. But I'm telling you, it can change your life by simply having a plan. What are the areas of your life that are tripping you up? The alarm goes off and you don't want to get out of bed. How are you going to handle it? Do you have a plan? Simply having a plan can change your life. I know exactly what I'm going to do. This area keeps tripping me up. Here's how I'm going to respond to it. Now, what if the thing that you put into play, let's say it's I feel tempted when I'm looking at something online I shouldn't, and the thing that you try doesn't work. Do you just go like, well, this doesn't work then? Or do you try something else? Well, yeah, try something else. That's the obvious, right? If this doesn't work, then try something else, right? But you have a plan. If you feel lazy, just do 10 push-ups immediately. Read 1 verse and then take the next right step. There's so many ways to think through this. If it's food that's tripping you up, how is it tripping you up? Just use your mind. Think through this. What is getting in the way and what can you do the next time it shows up? The reason the if-then pause plan works or so powerful is because we're fighting against willpower being the weapon of choice. Rather than using willpower, we're using wisdom. We're using planning. We're using our minds the way that God wanted us to love him with all of our mind. That means that rather than just going throughout the day completely unalert to the enemy that is prowling around, to the temptation that keeps getting us, instead of showing up unprepared, we simply have a plan. So what is it for you that's tripping you up? There's 3 things I want you to do that Jordan did that I think are great. If you remember, he visualized it and thought through it. I want you to think through it. I want you to visualize it right now. What is it for you? What is the temptation? What is the struggle? What is the thing? Right? What's happening or what is going on for you in that trial, in that temptation, whatever it is that gets in the way? Where are you, like where's the sticky point? Where is the enemy winning, the opponent against you, right? Where is it tripping you up first? Let's get to that point. Let's see it. Let's visualize it. That's the first thing. Know what's happening. Play this out. It's probably common to you. So just give it some thought. What is it that you need to visualize about what's happening that's tripping you up? And then I want you to rehearse it. Jordan would visualize it, and in his mind, he would play this thing again and again. Okay, if this happens, I'm going to respond like this. If this happens, I'm going to do it like this. I want you to walk through your if-then-pause plan and go through it in your head. I know exactly what it is. It's like creating muscle memory. You watch athletes do this all the time. They do the same move. The quarterback takes the snap in the exact same way. He moves his arm in the exact same way. It's muscle memory. It's the same thing that you need to do. You need to train like an athlete. You need to think like an athlete who has an opponent who's very talented, very good, and you've got to be alert. You've got to be prepared. So visualize it and then rehearse it. Walk through the plan over and over in your mind and expect that when it comes, because it's not going to surprise you now, expect that when it comes, you know what you're going to do, which takes you to the third thing, which is simply execute the plan. Visualize it, rehearse it, and then execute it the next time it comes. Why does that work? Well, simply because you thought about it before it showed up. That's it. This is not crazy. We just don't really use our minds very well this way as men, and it keeps us from living the life that we want to live. When you wait until the moment to try to come up with a plan, you're already too late. Willpower vanishes in the moment. That temptation that keeps tripping you up, it's going to keep tripping you up until you decide to preload a script and have a plan instead of panic. Like, oh crap, here it is again. Here's that same thing. Even though it tripped me up, I wasn't expecting it this time. Expect it. Train your mind for battle. That's what we're doing here. It's like John Wooden. You've heard this quote I bet many times, but John Wooden, who also is a GOAT, greatest of all time, he said that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And he's so right. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And that's where many of us, I think, find ourselves. We are walking through the day as if we're not at war, as if we're not in danger, as if the devil, our opponent, isn't trying to take us out. We are like in la la land. we are not ready. And I think that if you had a plan, a simple plan like the if-then-pause plan, I think it could change your life. So I want you to think through it. What is it for you? What are the one or two things that keep tripping you up where you're so frustrated and you're going like, golly, I would love for this to not be a part of my life. Visualize that thing. See it before it gets here. What's happening? What's in the way? Rehearse the if-then-pause plan in your mind many times, and the next time that it comes, execute it. If it didn't go well, what do? You could give up. Yes, that's one option. But it's probably not what you're going to do. You're going to simply iterate and adjust. If it didn't work, what else could you do? Visualize it again, rehearse it again, stay in the fight and keep winning until you can execute and defeat this thing that keeps tripping you up. So what is that for you? What is your plan? I want you to now take this idea and simply either write it down or just, again, maybe it's not complex enough that you even have to do that, but just come up with your own plan. Create your first if-then-pause plan and know how you're going to win the next time this fight shows up. And guess what? That fight's going to show up. We're in a battle. So be alert. Be sober-minded. Be aware of the fact that the devil loves to trip up Christian men and keep them from their destiny of being better husbands and fathers and followers of Christ, but not you. Not you any longer. You have a plan, and by having a plan, you just might change your life. All right? Visualize it, rehearse it, execute your plan, and lastly, share this, right? Maybe there's a friend of yours today that you know keeps getting tripped up by the same stupid stuff, right? We all have a friend like that. You probably sit next to somebody like that at church. Share this with them if you think it's helpful. Do me a favor, subscribe really quickly to this before you leave and move on with your day. But again, don't be, if this is helpful, don't just listen to it and go, yeah, that was a good idea. Put it into motion, write down, or at least think through your if-then-pause plan. That's what it looks like to get in the fight and win. And that's why we're here. So thanks for listening. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you real soon. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here today and listening to the show. Please be sure to head over to the website at getinthefight.club. And before you go, if you haven't already, please subscribe, click the like button, and leave us a positive 5-star review. It makes a huge difference whenever you do. Have a great day. Go get in the fight.